PSBA is committed to diversity, inclusion, and equity work. As an organization based in Tacoma, Washington, we acknowledge the Puyallup tribe and invite you to visit the official website of the Puyallup and listen to their land acknowledgement statement. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional homelands of the Puyallup tribe. The Puyallup people have lived on and stewarded these lands since the beginning of time and continue to do so today. We recognize that this land acknowledgement is one small step towards true allyship, and we commit to uplifting the voices, experiences, and histories of the Indigenous people of this land and beyond.
Thank you so much, Laurel. And you are such a well-organized Zoom host. We appreciate it so much. Amanda, it is so wonderful to see your smiling face. And it's so great to recognize everyone on screen and to launch our new series of Lunchtime Conversations.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jane. I am just delighted today to hear our speakers, and I've been dreaming literally about the Dreams exhibit.
Well, last week I had the great pleasure of working with Shay Towers and Aaron Mickelson to install the Dreams exhibition in the Collins Library. And we've been working on this for well over a year, so it was so great to see it come together, and it looks fabulous. So I hope many of you will be able to join together to visiting Collins Library. And while our speakers need no introduction, a little reminder that Shay Towers is the Associate Director for Research and Engagement at Baylor University, a teacher and artist in his own right, and founder of the Artist Book Collection, and an inspiration to me when I follow him on Instagram and see all the students coming into the Book Arts Collection. It warms my heart. And Aaron is now the owner and director of 23 Sandy Gallery, and both Shaw and Aaron are great practicing artists and wonderful people, and my new best friends.
In just a minute, Aaron is going to share images of books selected for Dreams, and we know many of you on the call today have books in the exhibit, and we invite you at that time to say a few words about your own book when it appears on the screen. But because of the sheer number of books, we ask that you limit your remarks and use the chat for sharing additional comments as well. And speaking of books in the show, before we get started, Shay, can you share a little bit about the response to the call for Dreams and that jury process?
Sure, happy to. The submissions were almost overwhelming and also so beautiful. It was, I think we were with the space that the exhibit lives in, which is really beautiful. I know many of you have seen that space and been in that space before, but if you haven't, you should definitely check it out. It's a really beautiful exhibition space. But that space was only big enough to hold about 1/3 of the submissions. So it's a highly competitive show, and we were really excited about that.
I love it. Thank you. It's difficult to make those kind of selections, and it goes to show that there's a need for exhibition spaces and opportunities for artists. And so with that in mind, Aaron, we look forward to seeing these images. And as you get started, can you tell us a little bit about your plans for 23 Sandy?
Yes, I can. First of all, I'm really excited to be sharing these images with you all. Shay was correct. We got a lot of wonderful work, and I'm really excited. Plans for 23 Sandy are, I am going to be opening up for appointments. So if you're ever in Santa Fe and you would like to come see artist books, I have a showroom and studio, and coming up soon, you'll be able to go to the 23 Sandy website and make an appointment online. All right, so we're going to be going through the books. Most all of them are here. We'll be going through alphabetically by artist's name. And I believe our first artist is actually here. This is Dress Dream Trilogy by Ling Ignu.
Okay. Hi all, and I was so pleased and excited to have a book accepted in the show. This was kind of a one-off, something different than I usually do in terms of the subject, but I do work with fabric books and a lot of collaged works. This fit in well to a plan to clean out my attic. So I was able to dispense with some old dresses as well as old family linen. So it's printed on old pillowcases. Combination of 3 little books, an accordion fold, a pamphlet bound, and one other one that I can't remember.
Next, we have Astral Projections 2 by Islam Ali, and I do not believe he is here. So I'll just go through relatively quickly until we can get to the artists that are present and are able to speak about their work. Eyes Wide Shut by Alicia Bailey, and Then I Woke Up, Volume 1, also by Alicia Bailey, and she is here.
Well, I thank you so much for not only including this work of mine in this exhibit, but to select 2 of them was kind of unexpected and wonderful. The first one is really new for me. I've been playing around with ideas of fiber, and some of you might know that I go camping pretty much all summer long. So I thought, well, I can do fiber embroidery and things like that while I'm sitting at a campsite. And so that is in fact what happened here. The box has little tendrils in it that remind me of the kinds of things that I see when I'm out camping. And so to have this be finished off and go out into the world so quickly is really a confidence booster for me. The second book is one that I made several years ago, but I went back in. It just never quite did it for me image-wise. So when I was thinking about this call for entry, I went back in and did some more additions, and now I'm quite pleased with the way it turns out. And I want to say how much I appreciate that there were no time restrictions on this exhibition, because so often exhibitions say the work has to be created within the last 24 months or something like that. And this work, I think, was started in 2016 and just revisited recently. So thank you, all of you who make this exhibition happen.
Next, we have Joseph, Dreamer and Interpreter of Dreams by Angela Batchelor.
Yeah, just thrilled to be part of the show. It's always thrilling to be included. So thank you very much. This one, it's inspired by the story of Joseph in the Bible, in the Old Testament. And Joseph is one of the many characters that has dreams or interprets dreams. And so this book, I wanted to chronicle not only his dreams, but also the ones that he interprets for others, and showing sort of a continuation of his life, which is pretty fabulous and fantastic. All the things that he went through in his youth, and then being the savior of the world essentially at the end. So that's what I focused on in this one. It's all hand-drawn illustrations and calligraphy, and it's definitely a one of a kind. There's no more.
Next, we have Puis Assommé by Sylvain Briand. This is a very fun book. It's got little pillow books inside the boxes. And then we have Secret Dreams by Mara Caruso. Dream Waves by Sally Chapman. Shinola by Barbara Siraj and Lindsay Lockman. 89.3 Million Dreams by Guylaine Couture. Sunbird Dreams of Rain by Marion Crane. Dreams by Insia Dot. Dream Magic by Mari Eckstein Gower. All the Dreams by Linda Ekstrom. Interchangeable Dreamboats by Virginia Farnsworth. An Ideal Nowhere by Gina Fowler. Tatiana's Dream by Jim Frazier. From Colorado to the Karakoram by Casey Gardner. Trinity by Valerie Hurd, Sharp Dream by Gwendolyn Holbrook, The Imaginarium by Mark Hoffman, who is present.
Most of you that know me know that most of my books are based on my illustrations, and this particular piece is no different. The title of the work is, of course, The Imaginarium. It is comprised of 2 stories bound in do-si-do fashion, one titled The Garden of Earthly Delights, which is the one you are looking at right now on the main page, and the other is a story of creation. The book is meant to be enigmatic, like a dream. As in dreams, the 2 stories in the book defy common sense as they float effortlessly forwards and backwards in time. As you open the book to see the first page of each story, you are actually looking at the end of the story. Turning each page will take you to the beginning, which happens to be in the middle of the book. To help with the illusion moving forwards and backwards in time, each page has a circular cutout, and I don't know if you can see that from these images right here, but each cutout on the left page gives a hint of the preceding page, while the cutout on the facing page gives a hint of what is to come. To align the pages correctly, the images on both the recto and versal sides of each page had to align with a cutout, while simultaneously align with each preceding drawing and each subsequent drawing. Because the book was bound before drawing the images, it meant the continuity of the book relied on making countless sketches while giving careful thought about each preceding 2 pages and each subsequent 2 pages before making the final drawing.
War by Christy Houston, who is also here.
I'm not seeing her.
Catching the Principles of Spring by Hannah Russo, and this book is from Norway. Still Dreaming by Paul Johnson. Just as you are about to unlock your door, you dropped your key and it shattered into 1 million seemingly identical keys by Emmeline Cray. Shared Illusion by Brian Kring. When I Fly by Sharon Kallenberger, Brian Kring, and Lisa Rappaport. Island of Feathers by Mia Lejenstedt. Infatuation by Louise Leverneau. Sweet Dreams by Emily Martin. Sleepers, Dreamers, and Screamers by Emily Martin. Departing Visions by Dorothy McQueeston.
This book is a large, well, it opens up to be quite a large maze book. It's made from individual sheets of cyanotypes that I printed last summer in the middle of, mostly in July, early August. My dear brother-in-law, Hugh Wynn, was in the last days of his life. And I was thinking of him the whole time I was creating these cyanotypes. And in these cyanotypes are not everything, but some of the images and objects that I put down and printed are things that he cared about and loved in his life. And after he died, my sister sent to our family a page with a list of all the things that Hugh loved in his life. So I overprinted with monotype letters, what you can see here, and it's difficult to read them, but you can see on the left, on the top one, you can see family quite easily. But all different words. He was a swimmer. He loved to go fishing and camping. He was a builder, built houses and loved to remodel houses. And so all those words, things that he loved, are layered in here. So it's imagining somebody else's, what they're thinking about as they're dying, as they go through their life. But it's my interpretation of that.
Salt by Tekla McHenry. To Dream Herself Gone by Tekla McInerney. The 99 Dreams of Euclid's Wife by Catherine Miller. Dreamings by Suzanne Moore. And Suzanne should be here.
I'm not seeing her.
Oh, Laura's Dream Journal by Laura Nash. Windows of Your Mind by Margie O'Brien. Untitled, A Book from a Dream by Charles Parrott. Trauma Bit by Elsie Vastel Ellis.
Thank you so much for making me a part of this really amazing exhibit. There's so many inspirational pieces. I'm on a venture of trying to use up as many materials as I have on my shelves as possible. So I try to design things around it. And my first attempt for a dream book, which was going to use Jacob wrestling with the angel about my father's dreams and not achieving them, I couldn't really go anywhere. So I returned to a narrative I had done in 1994 and revised it. And so there are 9 little dream stories. And they all are related to each other. And there is one that starts and one that ends, but you can actually read them in any order. And they have different folds and die cuts to enhance and detract as part of a dream sequence. And it's also a recognition of the fact that when you have dreams at the age of 12, you never let go of them. They're always a part of you. And so it's an archaeology adventure as well, which includes images from the trips that we've made pre-COVID and post-COVID, as well as this vast archive of things that I've saved.
So I don't have your slide, Marilyn. I'm so sorry. It's a beautiful book, but would you like to speak about it a bit?
Sure. I don't know. Can you see me? Here's the cover.
Hold on.
It's called Phantom Circus, and it's about a retired circus muralist's vision to retire to the desert in New Mexico and build this wonderful outsider museum called Tinkertown. And it's there, and he spent 40 years building rooms that he decorated with little miniature circus dioramas and fortune tellers. And the cover is actually designed by an artist I met at Codex called Dmitry Sayenko, and he printed, he loved the circus theme. So that's how we got into presenting this work that we did together. So there's lots of images. There's a bottle wall in Tinkertown of 40,000 bottles, and it's just a really fun place. And I'm so thrilled to be included in this exhibit, and it's fun to see everybody's work. I can't wait to visit and see it, in person. So thank you so much. And we did another book that's going to be in the, well, it was in the members show. It's going up to Evergreen.
So I love the title Dreams of the show, and trying to figure out ways to interpret that. And I went through quotes and found a quote from Edgar Allan Poe, just kind of dark, but it gave me a lot of ways to interpret within the book. And I don't have images to show you, but it includes my monoprints, pinhole camera imagery, and photo imagery within the book. And it's a double flag book, a creation by Haiti Kyle. And I'm really honored to be with this group of artists. Thank you.
So my book is a false accordion with case binding, and I risograph printed it. I have my own risograph, which I'm really excited about. All the imagery is created from, I made rubbings and also sumi ink paintings, and then digitally cut things out, manipulated them, and then printed them with the riso. And so the book explores the experience of new environments via weather patterns in dreams. It's called The Sound of Rain. After moving to Los Angeles from Minneapolis in 2018, I began having dreams of rain. And it was good to have this call for the show because I've had this book idea since then, but I never actually made the book. So this was a really good prompt to finally make the work. In LA, there's no summer thunderstorms or no rain usually for months on end, like there had been in Minneapolis. So I found myself experiencing the rain and the storms in my dreams. But then I realized, like, once I woke up, that I was actually hearing helicopters, which is common in this environment, but I had never heard those, overnight in Minneapolis. So the imagery is kind of like these big drop, like blade-like forms that are initially raindrops that kind of transition into a helicopter blades.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Be sure to look on the online catalog.
Yeah, thanks for letting me talk.
Yes, thank you for talking. Is there anybody else who might be here? Hi, Linda.
Hi. Yes, this is a book. It's a line from a poem by Walt Whitman. The poem is The Sleepers. It's a very long poem. And this line just is one that I've been really fascinated with. I dream in my dream all the dreams of the other dreamers, and I become the other dreamers. And I love the idea of people being united in the dream realm. And it's letterpress printed. I have a letterpress. It's letterpress printed, photopolymer plate text. It's on Japanese Mitsumata paper. And then the little dots that you see are actually holes punched into the pages with mylar behind so that it twinkles like stars. And obviously it's an accordion fold, but it lifts up instead of across, So.
It was really fun to see those stars in there. You can't tell from the photos, but they're very shiny and very sparkly.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Do we happen to have anybody else who might be on the call?
Erin, this is Jane, and Amanda and I have just a few questions we thought we'd pose.
Sounds good.
And Linda, you're right. When Erin said about opening up your piece, we both went, oh, it sparkles. So it really goes to show how important it is once you get the physical piece with you to be able to really interact with it. And Erin, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think there are a lot of people on the call that perhaps have not entered a juried show before. And I was hoping that maybe you could talk a little bit about our process, because it was a blind review and just how we went about it. And I also just want to say to everyone, Erin has done an amazing job. I think there were, close to 165 or over books. So keeping all of that information together and putting together the website and slideshow is really a huge feat. And also, maybe tell us a little bit about the breadth of geographic distribution of the books, because it's really fun to know that.
It is fun to know that. Okay, so jury shows, they're tough. We were only able to take about a third of the submissions that we received. And it was juried blind, which means all of the information was given to the jurors. So photographs, all of the cataloging information that the artist submitted, but no names. So the jurors receive a catalog, and the factors, probably the heaviest factor is how it relates to the theme. So if you enter a book that doesn't actually relate to the theme, even if it's a really amazing book, we're not able to jury it in, unfortunately. And then other factors are, of course, craftsmanship, creativity. We had some books that related to the theme in ways that I don't think any of us, initially thought about. So that's definitely a factor also. So yeah, we basically score books and then have a difficult conversation about who will be included. And we got so many amazing submissions. I wish we could have taken more books. So if you entered a book and it didn't make it in, doesn't mean that it wasn't a fantastic book. It just maybe wasn't quite strongly related to the theme or, anything like that. Yeah.
And I think, and Shay, I don't know if you'd agree with me, but I really appreciated the diversity of opinions that we all had, because it was great to have that conversation with so many books about how we wanted to develop a show that had a breadth of format as well as different approaches to the topic. Some of the books in the show are very serious and heartfelt, and there's a few that are of a lighter character and a bit fun. And so it was really, I think, a really good overall selection from across the globe, correct, Erin?
Yeah, so books are in the exhibition from where, let me see, we've got Canada, the UK, England, Egypt, Italy, Brazil, Norway. I believe that's it, but from all the way around the world. It's very exciting to have all of those artists exhibiting.
And just to let you all know, the last book did come in this week from Norway, and it's an amazing, interesting book. Yeah.
I saw that it was delivered. Yeah. Packaging artist books can be tricky. With this one was damaged in shipping, but was thankfully returned to the artist, and she was able to get it back out and into the exhibition on time.
You were dreaming about dreams. So what's your first response to the images?
I sure was. And I am just really curious to hear from some of the artists who've already spoken to just elaborate a little bit more on what dreams might have motivated or inspired them. If you can humor me in that, and maybe Elsie, I'll pick on you since I know you. Maybe your dream is to clear your shelves of things you already have, but I would love to hear more on the inspiration, the motivation that the dream world may have played on you.
Well, in 1993-94, I was looking for something to do to show my students about old technology can be really creative. And so I had read a bunch of stuff that was unrelated, but I started having these dreams that kind of connected these weird stories. And I thought, well, I don't write my dreams down, but I'm going to just do a record. And so what I did is I took this rough narrative and I did a massive production offset book, which was nothing but manual stripping of film with masks and all of that. It was very complex. And the book got selected for step-by-step graphics for one of their offset categories. So I wasn't really happy with the narrative being finished. And so when the dream thing came up, I thought, ooh, I could do two books. One was about my dad's dream not being fulfilled, and the other one about this bizarre collection that related to wanting to be an archaeologist. And so not being able to really go very much further with my dad's, I focused on this and was able to, use images from everything that I've collected from our trips and public domain. And I have a vast collection of photographs that I buy at shops. And so I was able to rework the story in a more meaningful way because it focused less on production, but could also really focus on telling the story visually with the narrative as kind of a little clarifier and supplement for it. And I got to use up a whole bunch of stuff.
That's always
so I have, different boxes with different description plates on it. Because you pick things up at antique shops and the restore and then go, why did I buy that? Well, somewhere in the back of those dendrites and axons was the motivator for it.
I love that. That's awesome. And Sarita, I don't know you, but I'm intrigued by your Instagram image that you shared with us. Would you also answer this question of, do you have dreams that influenced or motivated you in the creation of your piece?
Sure. Yeah, it was pretty much just what I described, that I actually was having these dreams of rain the first summer that I moved to LA. And so it doesn't rain here in the summer, and certainly not large, big storms. And I would, it was multiple times that I just felt like I woke up. I wouldn't wake up, but the next morning I was thinking there was a storm, but I was dreaming about them. And finally, after a few of those, after a few weeks, I woke up during it. And that's when I realized it was the helicopters just circling overhead, because I don't know how many people have been to LA, but there's lots of police activity that's always searching, with helicopters circling overhead just for lots of different kind of things. I don't know, they use the police helicopters a lot. And that was totally brand new to me. So it's just interesting the way like the body has that kind of response, like identifying a sound with something you are familiar with, but then it turns out to be something different.
Yeah, a different kind of storm of sorts, right?
Yeah.
The existential crisis. Jane, I saw there were some questions in the chat. Did you want to verbalize your answer there?
Sure. Is there going to be an open case event? And that's something that I really need to talk with my colleagues at the Collins Library, and also with Erin, about the ability to handle books that are not ones that we own. But certainly for the Puget Sound book artists, that's an opportunity that we could work together to arrange. So I hope so. And I think Erin is working on an online catalog, so that will be available on the 23 Sandy website. And we should mention that the books in this show are indeed for sale, so that pricing information and other details are available on the 23 Sandy website on the 20th. We just wanted to hold this session this week because we know many of you are going back to school and finishing vacations, and we wanted to whet your appetite to get into the library in the near future. I was sort of curious about the fabric book, the book made with vintage fabrics. I think it was our first book that we saw on the slideshow. And I wondered about how you felt like working with those fabrics. Did they have sentimental value to you? Were you thinking and dreaming of the past and the present?
Yes, I was. I'm a notorious keeper and finder of things. I think most artists are, and just being able to let go of these clothes, and I'm also 72, so I'm not wanting to burden my family with clearing out all of the many things that I've saved. So it really was sort of a choice to memorialize these very meaningful fabrics so that I could just let go of them. It really, and it really helped. And it was also, I often, because fabric books, as many books, are very labor intensive, I'm inclined to sort of angst over them and work on them for a long time. And this was a choice to just do this one and get it done, not to be too precious about decisions, but to, and it was small, it was, easy to do. So I think the box took me more time than the books, but yeah, I love working with fabric. So that piece of it is always just dear to my heart.
Thank you, Lynn. Are there any comments from those of you that are on the call that you'd like to share with the artists, or about the theme, or about the process of during a show, and what might be some themes for the future?
Ooh, that's a good question. I also wanted to mention real quick, going back to the catalog, there will be the online catalog, but I have been getting quite a lot of requests for a print catalog as well. And so there will be a print catalog.
Maybe Shay, I can ask a final question. Like, with the jury process, were there any surprises that came along, or any recommendations for the future? And
Sure. So this was my first time jurying with two other jurors. All of my experience so far has been solo flight. But one of the things I really loved about this, and partly this is a tribute to Aaron and Jane, is working together just surfaced a lot of other ways of viewing work that that weren't my own. So I was fascinated by our conversations about work and understanding why Aaron was compelled to lobby for this book or Jane for that book. They're, Jane and Aaron are great to work with. Jane wasn't too bossy about what we should include or not. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. She was not bossy about that. So I really liked that, especially for a show that had such a high volume of submissions and really strong submissions. That kind of dialogue about different perspectives and on each of the works was really, really rewarding for me.
That's so well said. And I feel the same way. There were many times when you have an initial look at a book and you might think, I'm not sure about it. And then to hear comments from Shay and Aaron about that book really helped with understanding the artist's vision. And I think that it just goes to show that having a diverse group and many people involved in making decisions it's all about collaboration, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the theme of Puget Sound book artists.
I do think that collaboration allows for a stronger show in a lot of ways.
So we're getting close to our time. We're very conscious that this is a lunchtime conversation. So I just want to ask this final question that came, like, what was the impetus for this show? Who, where, and why? And I can just say from my point of view, it's always been my hope that the Collins Library can remain an active and vital exhibition space. And having had the great mentorship of Laura Russell and Aaron taking over the 23 Sandy Gallery, it seemed like an opportunity. And then having worked with Shay on other programs within the Art Libraries Society and changing the conversation last year, it just all came together. And I think when we were focusing on a theme, we wanted something that could also be inspiring when thinking about the post-COVID world. And, focusing on going forward or also thinking of our past. So Aaron, Shay.
Yeah, 23 Sandy, as most of you probably know, was the brick and mortar gallery in Portland. And since taking over the business, I haven't had a physical location, but still want to be able to give artists opportunities to exhibit their work. So it's been really fantastic to be able to work with other venues, and like the couple exhibitions ago, was at a gallery in Santa Fe. And it's really wonderful to have this opportunity at the Collins Memorial Library because they have just such a gorgeous exhibition space. It's just really beautiful. And then having the new showroom is wonderful, but it's not going to be a rotating gallery. It won't have continuous exhibitions. So being able to do something like this, that's such an endeavor with this juried exhibition from books all over the world, like it's a great opportunity, and thank you.
Well, I just want to conclude by thanking Aaron and Shay. I mean, I truly mean that it was such a pleasure to work with you, and I can't wait for a future collaboration. Amanda, great to see your smiling face. Laurel, thank you so much. And I do want to shout out to Jamie Spain. I think she might be on this call. Jamie, as many of you know, is the administrative coordinator at Collins, but She was the person responsible for making sure all the books got into the office, were unpacked and noted and taken care of. So we really, really appreciate everything that you've done, Jamie. Thank you. And just to remind everyone, the books are on view in the library until November 20th. Check our website for open hours, and we will try to organize an open cases with our PSBA colleagues.
Absolutely. All I know is I'm excited for our next lunchtime conversation and in-person events that are coming up in Seattle.
Absolutely. So thank you all for joining us, and stay cool. Thank you.